Good morning, folks. This is your Tuesday video devotional coming at you from 211 Brookfield Street in Louisville on my front porch. And we are one day closer to getting back together and doing things a kind of way where we can enjoy each other and we can learn and we can worship. Which begs the question, what's that going to look like? Because for years it seems that we have labored under the idea that things have to look and function a certain way in order to be correct. But the problem is this coronavirus thing and this stay-at-home order thing has kind of blown up that paradigm, hasn't it? I mean, you look at the way that we're worshiping, looks nothing like it did. And you look at the way that we do communion, looks nothing like it did. Even this whole fellowship thing has largely been impossible. It looks nothing like it did. Now, do we miss those things? Yeah, we do. But it leads us to the question, are we more in love with the way we do things, or are we more in love with the God that we do these things for? And believe it or not, that's not as stupid of a question as it might seem. You see, we get locked into tradition and we get locked into certain formats to the point where we think that those traditions and formats are just simply right. And if others don't do things the way that we did these traditions and formats, well, then they must be, you guessed it, wrong. But the problem with that is these people who are on the other side looking at us doing traditions and formats differently than them, and guess what they think? We're doing it wrong. Just like we think they're doing it wrong. It's easy to fall into that trap. It really is. And so I hope that you've been taking advantage of this time to get into the scriptures to see what God really thinks about these things, about what the scriptures really say about these things. What do the scriptures say when it comes to communion? Do the scriptures say things like, well, you're going to have to be quiet and you're going to have to sit still, and we're going to have to do a little piece of bread first, and then you're going to have to do a little cup of juice first, and then we're going to have an offering afterwards, even though we'll say that the offering is separate and apart from the Lord's Supper. But is that how you've been doing it at home? Well, if you haven't been doing it that way at home, there are one of two explanations. Number one, you're doing it wrong at home. Or number two, maybe the way we've done it isn't necessarily as set in stone as we made it out to be. Even in our worship style, have you worshiped in the very same way at your home that you did in the assembly? Have you made the same kind of demands of yourself at home that sometimes we make in the assembly? Do you have the same kind of assumptions at home that you have in the assembly? And if your answer is, well, no, then it's going to require you to dig back into the pages of the Bible to see what exactly God is looking for and why. And the why is a bigger deal than we often give it credit for. So what I'd like you to do today is take a look at maybe some of the things that you thought were so very important in the way that we did them, and take a step back and say, why are those things important in the why that we did them? I hope that makes sense. To me, it's clear as mud. More to come.